Imagine, just for a moment, you're 35, pretty healthy, life's okay, and then bam, everything changes.
Instantly.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really, well, frankly unsettling idea of immortality.
Yeah, forget the usual fountains of youth or, eternal bliss. The source material we looked at, it's dark.
It really is. So our mission here is to unpack what this specific version of living forever implies. It's a nightmarish vision, honestly.
It forces you to confront assumptions, definitely.
Absolutely. It's not your standard fantasy take at all.
No, that's a key point right off the bat. Usually immortality is about escaping death, getting all the perks of endless life.
Right. More time, more experiences.
But this text just flips that completely. It argues that escaping death could be the actual torture.
Wow.
So we're not just looking at living longer, we're examining endless suffering within an endless life. It makes you ask, what makes life worthwhile?
And what happens when those things are twisted?
Exactly. Or just gone.
Okay, so let's get into it. The trigger event you mentioned, being hit by a truck. Normally, that's it. Game over.
Full stop. End of the line, usually. But here, nope. It's just the beginning of, something much worse.
Talk about visceral. The description is pretty graphic, right?
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't hold back. Crushed legs, ribs, puncturing organs, blood loss. Catastrophic injuries.
That they should kill you.
Overwhelmingly points to death, yes. But consciousness, it stays. He's aware.
That's the first shock. The immediate deviation from, everything we know.
It sets the rules for this reality, and they are deeply unsettling rules.
The body's broken, but life, it just won't let go. Such a jarring contrast. Extreme physical damage, but you just can't die.
Right. And it's not like, poof, you're healed. That's not what happens next either.
No, that leads to the next horrifying part, doesn't it? The regeneration.
Yes, and this is where it gets really twisted. Regeneration sounds good, right? Like a superpower.
You'd think so. Wolverine, Deadpool.
But here, it's coupled directly with inescapable pain. The body does repair itself, but it doesn't stop the hurting. It actually seems designed to prolong the suffering.
It's a mechanism for torture, not healing.
Precisely. Not a superpower, a curse.
And the examples the source gives, they are relentless. Just one awful thing after another.
It really paint a picture.
Like drowning over and over, feeling your lungs burn, gasping, dying, and then coming back just to face it again.
Or being burned alive, the searing pain, the tissue destruction, only for it to grow back, making you ready for the next time.
Freezing, being crushed, stabbed, starving, infections, even deliberate torture.
Each one is described as this prolonged nightmare the body endures, repairs, and then potentially endures again.
And the absolute kicker is you feel all of it.
That's the crucial distinction. This isn't immortality with invulnerability or numbness. The nerves work fine. The brain registers everything.
Every single second of agony.
Yeah, so it's not just survival. It's experiencing the worst things imaginable, endlessly, with no off switch, no relief of oblivion.
We're wired to avoid pain. What happens when you literally can't?
It's a terrifying thought. And as if that constant internal state wasn't bad enough, the outside world eventually finds out.
Right. You can't exactly hide that forever.
No. And the text is pretty grim about what happens then. Forget wonder or awe.
It's straight to the lab.
Pretty much. Everments, scientists. You become a specimen. Constant violation testing, trying to figure out how you work, a total loss of autonomy.
Just probed and studied like an object.
Exactly. It forces you to think about how we'd really treat something so anomalous.
So eventually, the narrative says he escapes this. Yeah, big it. But that leads to a different kind of suffering.
Yes, an escape into wandering. Decades turn into centuries. But it's not some romantic journey through time.
No, it's steeped in loss. The text emphasizes the grief.
Constantly. Outliving everyone. Your kids, their kids, partners. Generation after generation.
You form bonds, you love people, and then you just watch them all die. Again and again.
That must be crushing. Think about it. Our relationships are partly defined by knowing we don't have forever. There's a value in that shared mortality.
But he doesn't share it.
Can't. So he's always the outsider, watching the cycle of life and death play out, unable to truly participate in the same way. The connections are real, but they're inevitably doomed by time.
Leading to this profound, recurring isolation.
Deep isolation. And it's not just emotional distance.
The text also mentions trying to, end it. Suicide attempts.
Yeah, the gun, the noose, jumping from heights, all the standard ways out.
But they don't work.
No. The regeneration just kicks in, fixes the damage, leaves them alive. There's literally no exit.
Not even the oblivion of death.
And it goes further. Even simple things like sleep, The text implies that's not really an escape either.
No rest for the wicked, or the immortal, I guess.
Seems like it. The mind stays active, thoughts, memories, sensations, just constant, no break.
It's like being trapped inside your own head forever, on top of the physical pain.
Kind of mental solitary confinement, yeah. Compounding the physical side.
So as centuries roll by, the world changes around him. Dramatically.
Oh, completely. Languages shift and die out, nations rise and crumble, borders dissolve, new species might even evolve.
And he's just there, walking through it all unchanged.
A living relic. The text paints this picture of him walking through the ruins of civilizations he remembers being built.
Utterly disconnected from the present.
Alienated, detached. But, and this is key, the suffering doesn't fade with time.
The aches are still there, the memories.
The physical pains, the weight of all those centuries of memory, the scars, both literal and metaphorical maybe, they persist. He's anchored to the pain, even as everything else washes away.
Time isn't a healer here. It's just more time to suffer.
It becomes an enemy, in a way.
And then the narrative takes it to the absolute extreme, the end of the world itself.
Yeah, the final act, the earth dies, slowly, agonizingly.
Oceans boiling away, sun scorching everything.
Atmosphere thinning out, all other life gone. Just a dead rock.
And he's still there.
Still there, still conscious. Experiencing the planet's death throes. Skin peeling, breath shallow, slowly suffocating over, maybe, millennia.
While being the last living thing.
That final isolation. It's possibly the most horrifying part. To exist alone in a dead universe, still aware, still feeling the decay.
It's just, bleak doesn't even cover it.
Absolute solitude, absolute suffering.
And the final image.
Yeah.
Adrift in space.
Yeah. Floating in the void, burning with radiation, maybe bumping into cosmic debris. Forever awake, forever in pain, longing for an end that the universe itself can no longer provide.
Wow. Okay. So that brings us right to the core question, doesn't it? After hearing all that.
After considering this version,
Could you actually trade mortality for that?
it completely reframes the whole idea, right? What we often fantasize about living forever is presented here as the ultimate curse.
No upside, seemingly. Just pain.
It strips away everything we associate with a good life, connection, peace, meaning, even just the absence of agony, and leaves only endless suffering.
It really makes you think about what we value in our finite lives.
And maybe what we take for granted.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, the takeaway is pretty stark.
Unmistakably so.
Without limits, without death, without peace, life itself becomes a prison.
Pain becomes your constant companion. Time becomes this infinite, grinding enemy.
The source basically says, this isn't immortality, this is damnation.
And you are its only prisoner.
Yeah.
Forever.
A powerful and, deeply unsettling conclusion.
It definitely sticks with you.
So a final thought maybe for everyone listening. Considering this portrayal, this really grim version, what parts of just being mortal, parts we probably don't even think about, do we actually value?
Or maybe does exploring this change how you think about what it means to really live, knowing that it does eventually have to end?
Something to chew on. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us today.